Hello, everybody. Welcome. Happy Friday. I am so excited to share this beautiful soul with you guys. This is my wonderful colleague and friend and soul sister. This is Lisa Davis. She is my mentor in all things non-toxic, safe cosmetics, with sunscreen, with all of those items. And this is a question that we have been getting asked so much lately is, what do we do about sunscreen? And this is something that I'm an essential oil expert and person, and doTERRA actually does not have a sunscreen. I don't think we will. And so we need options. And I wanted to bring Lisa in to talk to us a little bit about sunscreen, keeping it safe, keeping it toxin free, because we know how important it is to reduce our toxic load and those endocrine disruptors and things. And so I'm so excited to bring her in to share her expertise with us. And we've got people watching over on Zoom and on Facebook. So it's so good to see you guys this morning. And Lisa, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Laura. I truly appreciate you. And I mean, I turn to you for all things oils. You are my oils guru. And you just don't even know how much I appreciate you. It's just, I have learned so much from you, and I'm so appreciative. And I'm also grateful that you're, having me on to share with your amazing, amazing community, just, a little bit of the knowledge I've gained over the past few years in trying to avoid the toxins, but also to stay safe and to stay protected. Super, super important. So just a tiny bit about myself. My name is Lisa Davis. I'm a Crunchy Advocate, which is a non-toxic, high-performing makeup and a tiny bit of skincare line. And I have been married 23 years. I have a wonderful husband, 3 great kids. My boys are 18 and 16, and my daughter is 13. And they are phenomenal. They do give me a wee bit of gray hair, but I love them. And I've held a lot of different positions and jobs in my lifetime, but being an advocate for safe beauty and just, wellness in general is by far the most rewarding. And I think Dr. Laura can attest to that beautifully as well, in many ways. And so it's by far the most rewarding thing I've ever done. So that's a little bit about me. I discovered Crunchy several years ago, and I just love the message behind it. It's really just how to live a healthier life and how to be well in all areas of your life. Just for the record, my 13-year-old is home. She finished up school on Monday. So if you see her wandering around, she's enjoying La Vida Loca, being home from school.
I love it. Real life, right?
Real life. She might even be walking around in her pajamas. But anyway, so Dr. Laura's asked me to come on today to share with you all a little bit about sunscreen. So with your permission, I'm going to take a little bit of a deep dive into sunscreen and what it does and why it's important and why it's good for us, but why it's really important to seek out the right kind of sunscreen. Okay, so as most of us know, sunscreen protects us from the harmful rays of the sun, and it's extremely important in helping to ward off skin cancer. However, do we really know what's actually in our sunscreen? But just to back up for a little bit, I want to talk about the rays of the sun. And this is where my inner biology, loving self comes out, and I put on my glasses and I do the deep dive.
I'm so excited. You're speaking my language.
I love it. I love it. And a lot of this information has been sourced from the EWG. The EWG, of course, is the Environmental Working Group. It is not by any means a perfect resource, but I find it to be incredibly helpful. And, it's a great resource for me in terms of research being done, very cutting edge things happening. And it's great when you want to look up products. They have a Skin Deep app. So I do get a lot of information from the EWG. Again, it's not perfect, but it's great. So the sunlight that reaches us is made up of 2 types of harmful rays. There's UVA and UVB rays, and long wave ultraviolet A, UVA waves, and short wave ultraviolet B waves. So the UVA rays penetrate deep into the dermis of your skin, and that's actually the skin's thickest layer. And unprotected exposure can lead to premature skin aging and wrinkling, photoaging, and suppression of the immune system. So over time, it can actually change your body to cellular level and actually change your DNA to be exposed to these rays of the sun over and over and over. And this has been proven for years and years. So UVB, so that's UVA rays. So those are penetrating the skin's thickest layer and leading to photoaging and premature wrinkling and suppression of the immune system. UVB rays, ultraviolet B rays, will usually burn the superficial layers of your skin and the epidermis, and it plays a key role in the development of skin cancer. The intensity of UVB rays vary by season, location, and by time of day. And as many of us know, all the experts warn, if you're going to be out in the sun, try to avoid being out in the sun between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Those are when the sun is at its strongest, at its zenith, its peak, and you really want to avoid those rays. Sunburned skin doesn't just feel terrible. I mean, raise your hand, right? If you've ever had a really horrible, I had one blistering sunburn in my life, and I will never, ever, ever repeat that. I will never forget, I was in high school. I was actually on a marine biology field trip to the Florida Keys with a group of other juniors, and it was an incredible experience. But I'd never experienced Florida sun before. I was from the Midwest, and we got on these trawling boats that we went out all day long trawling for samples from different parts, different areas of the Keys. And I got a blistering sunburn, and the pain that I went through, and I was actually like sunsick. It was, anyway, long story short, it was horrible. So that never happened again. I never skipped the sunscreen again. But sunburned skin doesn't just feel awful, it can cause permanent damage over time. So in short, we must use an effective sunscreen that blocks both types of rays. Now I know, there are, there's articles that have come out, eat your sunscreen. So there are foods that you can eat to sort of boost your immune system and sort of help, with some skin protection a little bit. Those are all wonderful things that we can do. However, you truly, truly need to wear a sunscreen. You cannot go without sunscreen. That has just been established, and it is proven. And ladies, we can't skip that step. And there's actually, and of course, as I was doing my deep dive, I think it was a Medline study or a PLOS study just came out that said, even though we're applying sunscreen, we're not being very careful, and we're not covering all the areas. And they're actually recommending now that you use sunscreen twice, that you actually do 2 full applications of sunscreen before heading out into the sun. And of course, you want to reapply either every 2 hours, or, depending on how fair your skin is, how much you burn, you want to reapply even more frequently with that. But they're literally suggesting 2 full applications of sunscreen to fully protect. And they actually did like black light studies, and they showed where people thought they covered every area, and they missed like vast quantities of their skin. That's why the second application is so crucial. So knowing this, I'm actually going to start implementing that. And in the morning in my routine, I'm going to give myself an extra minute, and I'm going to apply 2 layers of sunscreen to any exposed area, because I can't risk it. So I actually have a family history of basal cell carcinoma. So it's really important for us to do this. Okay, so going into, we've established it's crucial to wear sunscreen. And we've even established it might even be crucial to put 2 applications on. But there are 2 types of sunscreen. There's chemical sunscreen and there's physical or mineral sunscreen. So which one is ideal and which one should really be avoided? Let's talk about, this is our deep dive into chemical sunscreen. So the problems, there are several problems with chemical sunscreens. The most common sunscreens contain chemical UV filters that keep those harmful UVA and UVB rays from our skin. But these products typically contain some really, really harmful chemicals, or questionable chemicals, or chemicals of great concern. They're oxybenzone, avobenzone, octisalate, octocrylene, homosalate, and octinoxate, all right? So these ingredients are to be avoided, in particular oxybenzone, which we'll talk about in a moment. In addition to that, ingredients in chemical sunscreen can actually be very irritating and cause pretty severe skin allergies. I cannot tell you how many clients have come to me and said, Lisa, I've never been able to wear sunscreen. It always breaks me out. I have a terrible reaction to it. I mean, it is appalling how much people are reacting to sunscreens. And that is a direct correlation with these harmful ingredients found in the sunscreen, and with the irritating and the allergenic ingredients found in the sunscreens as well. And not only that, but these ingredients often cannot withstand powerful UV radiation without even losing their effectiveness or forming possible harmful breakdown products. So the products that are formed after these ingredients are together and then exposed to sun, they're supposed to protect your skin, but they're breaking down and forming harmful products on your skin, which is then being absorbed. So no to the no to these chemicals. In addition, and this applies for any sunscreen, like any spray sunscreen, I am not a big fan or proponent of spray sunscreens for a lot of reasons. The 2 big ones are, number 1, these ingredients can be inhaled, okay? And we do not want to inhale anything that belongs on our skin, right? It's damaging and harmful to our internal organs and to our lungs. They also get on our lips, they can get into our lungs, internal organs. So we want to avoid spray sunscreens. Also, you are not fully covering your skin. You are not, it's, you know, it's blowing away in the wind. It's getting on the ground. You're not getting enough of an application on your skin. So absolutely not. I highly do not recommend using a spray sunscreen, even though they're convenient, you know, and even though you don't necessarily get that white cast on your skin, it's just not a great idea. And let me interject, first of all, I am not a medical expert. I am just someone, I have a bachelor's degree in biology and a master's degree in writing and another master's degree in teaching. But I do not have any kind of medical degrees. This is just information and knowledge I've learned and gathered from years of studying this topic and trying to find the safest, best products possible, and also the best application methods. So,
Lisa, may I jump in real quick? Because I love what you're saying. And my husband and I are taking a trip this summer, and our sweet travel agent gifted us, right, a little goodie bag. And inside the goodie bag, like, oh, and you know, it's the thought that counts. And it was so nice, but exactly what you were saying with these sprays. And I looked at my husband and I was like, oh, okay, we have better options with this, but everything that you just said. And then there's even things like fragrance, and we don't know what the heck that means in here. So it's just, I love what you said. And I was just chuckling as you were talking, because I was like, oh yeah.
Yep, I know. And you're like, that was so kind, but I really can't use this for so many reasons. Exactly. And it came from a good place, but totally agreed. And you know what, again, with my own kids, it's a struggle because they love the ease of the spray, and, you know, but then after their first sunburn, they're like, okay, I get it. Like, it really is not protecting anything. So furthermore, and this is really to me one of the most troubling factors of these chemical sunscreens, is they commonly include ingredients that act as penetration enhancers to help the product adhere to the skin. But as a result, what happens is many sunscreen chemicals are actually absorbed into the body and in the bloodstream, and they can then be measured in blood, breast milk, and urine samples by researchers. So troubling. In fact, this is so timely that we're having this conversation today, because according to the FDA, a study was just released that the chemicals in sunscreen seep into your bloodstream after just 1 day and 1 application. This was just released by the FDA. And in fact, not only do they seep into your bloodstream after 1 application in 1 day, but they far exceed the FDA's recommended threshold without a government safety inspection. So it's sort of unbelievable. And now the FDA is calling for a top-down review of all sunscreens, and they're really sounding the alarm. Now, for the FDA to be doing this, guys, the FDA that only bans 30 toxic chemicals, this is bad news, all right? I'm saying this is like eventually the death knell for chemical sunscreens. I'm calling that out right now. So there's a lot. So let's talk about oxybenzone, which I referenced before. It's one of the 6 harmful chemicals of concern in chemical sunscreens that we're really taking a look at, that the EWG is concerned about. And there's a lot of concern about the substantial skin absorption of oxybenzone, its potential to affect hormone levels, and the increased absorption susceptibility of children. Lab studies have shown that some chemical UV filters may mimic hormones, okay, and have been linked with a higher risk of endometriosis in women, poor sperm quality in men, and in both men and women, skin allergies, hormone disruption, and cell damage, right? So, and I'm really sharing this information with you. I'm not trying to scare or fearmonger. I just think that everyone needs to be aware of what they could potentially be using, and that there are better, safer options out there. So a little bit more about this, then we'll go into active ingredients and active ingredients. Then we'll talk about mineral sunscreen, my favorite. So the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention routinely detects oxybenzone in more than 96% of Americans. It is ubiquitous in our environment and in our bodies. Investigators at UC Berkeley reported a dramatic drop in teen girls' exposure to oxybenzone in cosmetics when they switched from their usual products to replacements that did not contain this chemical. So it truly persists in our bodies and in the environment. The EWG recommends that consumers avoid sunscreens with oxybenzone, but sunscreen users are exposed to other active ingredients too. And like I mentioned, the other 5 ingredients. So active ingredient toxicity. These chemicals can penetrate skin and reach living tissue. They can disrupt the hormone system. They can affect the reproductive and thyroid systems. And in the case of fetal or childhood exposure, permanently alter reproductive development or behavior. They can cause many skin allergies, and they are problematic if inhaled. And there are, of course, other toxicity concerns, such as environmental concerns. I'm sure many of you have heard the buzzwords reef safe. A lot of sunscreens, mineral sunscreens, are touting themselves as reef safe because the chemical sunscreens have actually been scientifically shown to damage our coral reefs. And that is the last thing we want. And also, if it's damaging our coral reefs and the aquatic plant life and the reefs themselves, you know, what is it doing to us? It's like the proverbial canary in the coal mine, right? So we don't need to be guinea pigs, right? We don't need to have this grand chemical experiment going on. We can just set all that aside. We can shift to something better, and we can just know that we are using the good, safe stuff. So just a moment about inactive ingredients and hormone disruption, then we'll get on to mineral sunscreen. So I was so glad Dr. Laura brought it up about the sunscreen that was given to her by her lovely travel agent, which I know she meant the best and wanted you to be protected in that warm summer sun. So inactive ingredients in chemical sunscreen are just as concerning as the active ingredients. So you have things like fragrance, and you have this really nasty ingredient called MI, and it's a preservative, and I'm going to attempt to say it. It's methyl isothiazolinone. I did it. And MI is a preservative, which is a terrible skin sensitizer allergen. It is really found in many, many products. And actually, the American Contact Dermatitis Society named MI its allergen of the year 2013. So it is really everywhere, and it is almost an epidemic. And that is found as a preservative in most chemical sunscreens. So, and again, there's fragrance, there's other preservative, you know, there's just a lot of nasty inactive chemicals in chemical sunscreens that you want to avoid as well. So hormone disruption, I touched on that before very previously. Several common chemical filters appear to be endocrine disruptors. Many studies have shown that these chemicals affect reproduction and development by altering reproductive and thyroid hormones. So anything that messes with our endocrine system and throws that out of balance, we need to avoid that, right? We need to just kick that to the curb and say no endocrine disruption for us. We want to keep that beautifully in balance. That's why we use our oils. That's why we practice self-care. That's why we seek out healthy food, healthy products, and that's why safe sunscreen is of paramount importance. Our sunscreen shouldn't harm us with questionable chemicals. It should simply and safely protect us from the sun. Okay, so now I'm ready to chat about physical mineral sunscreens. And if you all have any questions as we're going through this talk, please feel free, you know, post those questions. Dr. Laura will relay them to me, and I'll be happy to answer them. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. So my preferred sunscreen, and the one that Crunchy recommends, is mineral sunscreens or physical sunscreens. So as opposed to chemical sunscreens, which take in you know, the UV and UVB rays, the mineral physical sunscreens deflect them, send them right back out. So mineral sunscreens are made with zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. You always want to look for a non-nanoparticle, right? So non-nanoparticle titanium dioxide, non-nanoparticle zinc oxide. This molecule is too big to penetrate the skin to reach living tissue. Just stays on the epidermis, the dead layers of skin on top. It's okay. Mineral sunscreens physically block and reflect back both UVA rays, those that cause premature aging, and UVB rays, the ones responsible for burns and eventually skin cancer. So mineral sunscreens provide a shield on the surface of the skin instead of absorbing the sun's rays as chemical sunscreens do. And physical sunscreens as a whole are actually better suited for those with sensitive or acne-prone skin. They are non-comedogenic, which means they won't clog your pores. And essentially, you don't have to be a guinea pig and slather yourself in questionable chemicals just to be safe from the sun. So as you can see, that's a sunscreen that I highly recommend. You still want to check your ingredients. You still want to check your label, still check your ingredients, because sometimes companies can be a little bit sneaky in kind of what they put in their products. There might, you know, I like to say that a lot of companies greenwash. They still are going to include fragrance. They're still going to include preservatives, but they're like, well, we're cruelty-free, or we're paraben-free, or we're phthalate-free, but there's a lot of other stuff going on. So you just want to become that label-reading ninja that I know you can be, or you can always reach out to Dr. Laura or myself. We're happy to break that label down for you. So let me tell you what I recommend. I have several recommendations to stay safe in the sun. Number one, of course, our Crunchy Sunlight Sunscreen. I absolutely love this. It is not, if this is for your face, neck, ears, back of your neck, back of your hands. This is the best. It is SPF 30, non-nanoparticle zinc oxide. It is a moisturizing sunlight. EWG just actually gave it a very high rating. It's one of their top moisturizing sunscreens, which made my heart very happy.
Yes, if you want, Lisa, I can actually share that. I pulled it up because I wanted to we can do like a quick screen share because this is such a big deal. And yes. I was curious. So this is the sunscreen that I was gifted. And I got a very bad score, by the way. So red is bad. You want as close to one as possible. So
Mhm.
look at all of the warnings here. And you can always go to the EWG, like what Lisa just told you guys, the Skin Deep, and pull all of this up and search your products. There's an app too that I love to take with me when I go shopping. And then this is the Crunchy that I use and Lisa used, that Lisa brought into my life, which is so amazing. And you're going to see here that this has a 1 rating. So very, very, that's the best rating. That is a huge, huge deal. And actually all of the Crunchy products have amazing, amazing ratings, 1 ratings. So that really touched my heart. But thanks for letting me share that, Lisa, because I saw that and was like, oh my gosh, this is big difference there.
No, thank you. And it's so impactful to see it on the screen. And, you know, the day the ratings came out, like I just did a happy dance. Like I knew like there was going to be 1 because all our products are 1, but when you see it in black and white or in full color, you're like, oh, it feels amazing. Just to know that peace of mind. And I will tell you that, and Dr. Laura can attest, a little goes a very long way. It is very concentrated, like just 1 pump does everything you need, and it's no ghost, no grease. So that has been the main issue I have found with safe sunscreens, with the mineral physical sunscreens, is that you put it on and you got the white cast and you're a greasy mess and you're just like, all right, and you're not a happy camper, literally. And I will tell you that there's no ghost, no grease with this. It's incredible. It feels amazing. It has, and one other quick thing. So it's SPF 30, which we were not compromising. Crunchy was like, we are going to do SPF 30 or bust. It would have been easy to come out with an SPF 20 product a year ago, but they were like, nope, we want full coverage, full coverage. So what they did was they found the secret sauce for this. It's Tamanu oil, and Tamanu oil gives it that incredible moisturizing property, helps it soak into your skin, and actually boosts the SPF factor of the sunscreen. So FDA compliance, we're allowed to say SPF 30, but Tamanu oil actually boosts it above SPF 30. So you're getting that extra boost, which is so nice, so wonderful. Okay, so that's my plug for our Crunchy sunscreen, and truly it has changed my life, because I'm now happy with what I can put on my face. And my daughter will wear it and my sons will wear it, and there's no complaints. No complaints. So I have a few other suggestions for you. Cover up. You know, when you're out in the sun, wear a wide brim hat, wear long sleeves, wear that cover up at the beach or the pool. I know it's not super fun, but it's super, super important to cover up. Find shade. I mean, look at me. I'm a fair lady. I'm a pale lady. But when I'm at the beach, I'm under the umbrella. I'm wearing the hat. You know, I'm wearing the cover up. And I will take everything off, and I will be wearing my sunscreen. I will go and dive into the ocean or the pool. But then I come back out and I dry off and I reapply and I get back under the umbrella. So it may not be the most fun thing, but it's super, super important to find that shade and stay under it. Use a mineral sunscreen like Crunchy Sunlight for your face. This is also for my neck, for my ears, the back of my neck, back of my hands. 1 pump does it all. And you want to also use one of the body sunscreens, and I have several that I can recommend to you. Let's see. Oh, you know what, Dr. Laura, I missed that comment. If you want to read that to me.
Yes, it was from Melissa, and she said, what would work best for the rest of your body?
Okay, perfect. So you read my mind. So I was literally just about to hop in and share what I recommend for body sunscreens. So there are a lot of safer sunscreens out there, but I have test driven the best of the best. And I actually have a complete toxin-free master list on my client group. If Dr. Laura doesn't mind, I might actually link my client group in here, so that if you guys want to,
I'll post the link here.
Perfect, amazing. I have a whole toxin-free master list of all, of course, doTERRA, but all the products that I recommend that are toxin-free, and I have a big long list of sunscreens, because not every sunscreen works for everyone. People have different preferences, but the 3 that I love and recommend the most, and that we use as a family, is Babo Botanicals, Think Sport, and Badger. Okay. Now I will say, full disclosure, Badger, you do get a bit of that white cast, but if you really work at it, you can get it to rub in, and you can get rid of the white. You just have to do a little elbow grease. But those are the 3 I recommend: Babo Botanicals, Think Sport, and Badger. Now Babo does have a spray. Again, I don't recommend the spray, even though it's safe sunscreen. I just feel like you're going to get more coverage and more protection with the lotion or the cream. Yeah, so those are, thank you for linking that, Laura. So those are the 3 body sunscreens I recommend, and you can be just fully covered and protected this summer with the Crunchy Sunlight for your face. And again, my whole family uses it, and the body sunscreens I recommend. One last thing is Crunchy actually kicked off a campaign called #365, SPF 365. And this is something that a lot of people don't necessarily realize. You know, when summer hits, when the sun's out and shining every day, we're like, oh, got to put the sunscreen on. But actually, did you know that you're supposed to wear sunscreen 365 days of the year? Okay, because even in the middle of winter, we are getting exposed to very high levels of UVA and UVB rays, even with the weak winter sun, even when it's raining. The sun is still there and we're still receiving those rays. So it is super, super important to protect any exposed areas 365 days of the year. So this is part of my routine. This is part of my daily routine. I don't skip this step. Even if I'm not wearing makeup, if it's a makeup-free day, actually, technically, I throw on my SPF 30, and then I throw on my Crunchy Smart Primer, because these two products, this is number one anti-ager, number one age protection, protection against aging, and my number one skin saver for my face. So are there any questions, any other questions that anyone has about sunscreen and staying safe in the summer?
So someone asked about any recommendations for a spray sunscreen. And we kind of talked about the dangers of those and how
if you must use one, and I get it, I would say Babbo Botanicals is one I found that it seems to go on pretty well. You know, I just can't speak to the amount of coverage. You know, that's my only concern. And of course, the inhalation. You really have to spray it where there's no wind at all. And you really have to spray it, you really have to focus on getting in every area and then rubbing it in. So, you know, it's a little labor intensive in and of itself. The other thing is, you know, now with the study just coming out, this Medline study where actually 2 applications are recommended, I can't imagine that the spray sunscreen is going to be that effective. But that's the one that I recommend in terms of safe ingredients.
All right. And we got a question about how much the Crunchy Sunlight costs.
Sure. Great question. So the Crunchy Sunlight is $48. And this will last you about, I'm going to say about 2.5 months if you're using about 1 pump a day. Yep. So, and I think the important thing to know about the ingredients in the Sunlight is, you know, the ingredients are incredible. I always like to say it's everything you want and nothing you don't. So it's a base of aloe vera, jojoba oil, sesame oil. It's actually got a lovely light scent from sweet orange peel oil. So it's not fragrance. It is from sweet orange peel oil. It's got goji fruit and acai berry powder and just all these incredible, incredible ingredients. So that's really where the price point comes in, because the ingredients are so carefully chosen and sourced. And then don't forget the tamanu oil that is even further boosting the SPF and giving it the moisturizing properties. The company worked for years and years to come up with a product like this that would give no ghost and no grease, but true safe protection. So.
And it is, and I just have to say, I really love it. I have been using it with the primer. I love the primer as well. And these last a really long time, a really, really long time. Like a little bit goes a long way with that. And when you're pricing it out per like what you're paying per day, it's very, very minimal, and you're worth it, right? Because with, you know, the cheapy stuff, we saw that there's some issues there. So just like with essential oils that you can, you know, Target and Walmart, all those places have them, but they're not even an essential oil. I'd call it more of a synthetic fragrance and fillers and all this stuff. That's why Crunchy and doTERRA go hand in hand. It's really the exact same concept, is that you kind of get what you pay for. And I think we've all seen those horrible posts on Facebook where, you know, someone bought the no-ad sunscreen, or, you know, they bought some inexpensive, like a pack of 3 for $10, and then their child had that blistering sunburn. So we've all seen that happen. So it really is important to just, you know, really make sure that you're using the best protection possible and the safest. Yeah. Yes. We only have, the skin is our largest organ, and we have to protect it. So somebody asked, okay, we have a couple questions.
I will do my best.
One is, how do we get it? So I'm sure we can pop a link in for them, Lisa. I'm not sure if we are going to create a special one for this, or if we have
we can pop the link in. So Dr. Laura has an open event right now, and I'm happy to provide that link right here for her to add, and that's how you can order the sunscreen.
Awesome. And I have that link too. So I'll pop that in for you guys as well. Somebody asked, what does the primer do?
Oh, great question. I love that. So the primer, it does a lot of things. It's probably my favorite product other than the sunscreen, and I call it skin food. So in and of itself, it's just incredibly healthy for my skin. I find it to be soothing. It really helps with redness. It bridges the gap, bridges the divide between skincare and makeup. So what it's supposed to do is it primes your face for foundation. Okay, so think of the walls of your home. You wouldn't paint the walls of your home without a layer of primer first. It's the same concept for your face. You want that layer of primer on your face so that the makeup sits beautifully on top. There's no, creasing. There's no settling into fine lines. The primer itself smooths over texture, fine lines, pores, acne, scarring, wrinkles, anything that you need to smooth out and blur and cover up. That's what this does. It also controls oil and shine. It hydrates your skin, provides that smooth canvas for the makeup, and it soothes redness. When I'm not good about cleansing, when I'm not good about using that primer, I can see my skin starting to get a little angry with me. So this is really the two steps that I don't skip in my routine.
And I have to attest to that too, because I didn't know what primer was until I met Lisa, and she said, you just need this in your life. And it's made such a difference in my skin. It was incredible. Okay. Melissa asks, what do you think of Bullfrog? My dermatologist recommended it.
Yeah. I would have to refresh myself with the ingredients, but I think off the top of my head, it's good. I think Bullfrog is good, but I would need to just sort of double check the ingredient list, but I believe it is on my recommended list of products. And it's nice. Raw Elements is another one that I really like. But I just tend to, and I do have a long list that of safe sunscreens that I recommend, but I just kind of stick to sort of my top 3 that my fallbacks that I know and really love. But Bullfrog is good. Raw Elements is really good. Oh, Laguna Herbals is another one that I like. And they have a stick. They have like a really sort of big body stick. And I will throw that in my beach bag, and it's super, super easy to apply and reapply. It does go on. It's like the thickest, it's like pure zinc oxide. Like you're putting on, you're like, oh my goodness, like I am white as a ghost, but you are protected.
I love it. Better safe than sorry, right?
Good stuff. And they actually have a really nice SPF 30 lip balm. So that's great.
Oh,
yes.
And I love, I have to laugh because I've been a big sunscreen fan, right? I'm very fair skinned like you are. And if I'm out in the sun for too long, it's very easy to burn. And we went to a family reunion in North Carolina, and I'm used to being a little bit different, right? Everybody's using their other stuff, their copper tone and things. And we have ours, and yet we're rubbing it in. You have to rub and rub, but we're doing it. And I will watch the timer, and I'll set a timer to know when to reapply. And Mark was out playing in the ocean with his cousins and family. And he was way out there, and I just kind of went, okay. And he goes, I have to go now. I need to put my sunscreen on. My wife is telling me that I gotta go. It was a proud moment, but it was really cute. He was like, and you know what? He was the only one that did not burn and have all these. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yay,
There's
Mark.
something to be said for that.
I have to agree. Like I'm always the one not burning. Yeah. That's awesome. It's great. No, it's the most important thing you can do. And, I feel like that's the one step that you shouldn't leave the house without. And, educate yourselves, really look into this more, and I'm happy to answer more questions. And I just feel like it is so important that we protect ourselves the right way. Sunscreen is a fact, but let's use products that are safe for us, safe for our kids, safe for our families, and that actually really work, right? Because a lot of the chemical sunscreens, like I mentioned before, they actually break down in strong sunlight, and then they're causing more harmful chemicals, and they're not even working correctly. So that's why a lot of people apply sunscreen and then end up getting burned. They're like, gosh, I don't understand. I was only out for an hour. And I'm like, well, that's what's happening. So yeah.
Exactly. It's an important thing. And I love that. Anything that we're putting on our body, anything that we're taking internally, anything that we're consuming there that's in our space, we want it to be high quality, because these little things, these daily actions, the stuff that we're using regularly, if you're going on a trip or this summer and you're doing it daily, we really do want to be empowered with our decisions there.
Exactly. Perfect. Yeah. So Dr. Laura, if there are no other questions, thank you so much for having me on to share with your amazing community. I just truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh gosh, it's my pleasure. I popped the link there so people can go, and you're going to want to request to join Lisa's Facebook group, the Beauty Conscious group. It is incredible. She does what I do with doTERRA essential oils, educate and do videos and things. She does the exact same thing for this, for safe, non-toxic beauty. I've learned so much from her. So you're going to want to hop over there. And also, speaking of the sun and burns and all of those things, we're collaborating. I love that we get to bring our skills and our strengths in, and I will be doing a virtual class on Monday, actually in Lisa's group over there. So you're going to want to hop over there for sure too. You're going to learn all of her beautiful education. And then we're going to be talking about non-toxic bug sprays, and it's a virtual make and take. So you can come, you can snag the recipes. If you have some oils, you can make them with us, and we will be giving you lots of tools for that as well. So that's going to be 11 a.m. on Monday, June 17th, here coming up really soon. And it's just going to be a really fun summer make and take. Just like, see, I had my sweet travel agent. I need to make her some stuff. I was like, I haven't seen this in years. It's like blast from the past. So here's the off. So we're going to be talking about not using the off. We're going to be making our own.
You can hold it up as your no.
Yes.
We're not using this.
Before and after.
Right. That's our swap. It's our safe swap. Swap this for this.
Yes. And again, there's no shame, there's no judgment, because when we know better, we do better. Right. And we have these options. And so we're going to be making a lot of really great swaps with those things. And bug sprays, after sun sprays, we're going to make our own toner, do-it-yourself toner for the skin. So lots of fun stuff. You guys will want to hop over there and join us. I can't wait Monday. And thank you for being here. Oh, we have another question that popped in. Thoughts on Rodan and Field's skincare?
Well, as Dr. Laura said, no shame, no judgment. I don't like to knock other brands. So I don't pick on brands. I pick on ingredients. And what I have found is that there are a whole bunch of ingredients used in Rodan and Field skincare that I would never, ever, ever put on my skin or put on my family's skin or let my family use. So I just have a big issue with some of the ingredients they use in their products. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, beautiful. And be a label reading gangster. Check out the Environmental Working Group. Again, that's a great one. And again, if there's ever anything that you're reading and you're going, what the heck is this? Do your own research, dive deeper into that and see. But this is
another quick hack. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
That I love, that I like to teach my clients to help empower them, because I'm happy to help read the labels. But I'm like, if you ever want to take the deep dive, all you have to do is go into your URL search bar, type in the ingredient and EWG. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to pop up on EWG, and it's going to show you the rating and, everything that it will say about that ingredient. And so you can say, if it's anything over usually if it's anything over a 3 or a 4, I'm like, just going to avoid that right there. So that's kind of a quick and dirty way to check individual ingredients.
Oh, I love that tip so much. That is brilliant. Yeah. And always kind of trust your intuition and your inner wisdom with those things too. I think that's so important. And I love how in this day and age with information, we can be really empowered to do our own research and look into those things, which is so great.
Love it.
And I will pop that event into the chats as well for our upcoming summer extravaganza. I can't wait, Lisa. It's going to be a blast. I love do-it-yourselves and to connect with you all the time. So
I love it.
Everybody mark your calendars for Monday. We'll be back. We're here teaming up. We're going to make sure you have a safe, happy, fun summer.
Absolutely. We're going to keep it safe and toxin-free and full of fun. Thank you all. This is amazing.
My pleasure. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys for watching or catching the replay live. And we will see you guys Monday in Lisa's group. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.